I'm Edie Lush, and I'm outside the Hub Culture ICEhouse here on the Hub Culture campus. It's Davos Summer 22, and I'm really pleased now to be joined by Svitlana Krakovska, head of the Applied Climatology Laboratory in Ukraine, and also the head of the Ukrainian delegation to the IPCC. Svitlana, we just have to pause here for a moment. What's it like for you coming from Kyiv, being here in Davos?
It's a very strange for me situation because I see all these beautiful mountains, beautiful environment, and I cannot actually forget about my family, my friends, my colleagues who are now in Ukraine, and they not only cannot enjoy this, they cannot just feel safe actually at my country. Yeah. But actually my mission here to come and tell about them and to find support actually to stop the war.
So let's talk about your work, incredibly important work as a climate scientist, writing the IPCC report. Now I know that the report you were most involved in was published in August, but you've also been involved in the reports that have just very recently come out as during the war already. So tell me what that was like.
Well, actually, we were waiting this report for years, actually, because this Working Group 2 and 3 report of this UN panel on climate change, it's about adaptation, about vulnerability, impact, and about mitigation. So, particularly in Ukraine, we were expecting this report to continue our work on adaptation to climate change. So we first time had so big delegation from Ukraine to this approval meeting just because it's online meeting. And I was very happy to have this delegation with many experts from different fields, from different scientific expertise, from ministry, from our civil society. So we were pretty successful during this meeting. And actually I was first time co-facilitating one of the contact group. Again, we just finished at at night on Kyiv time. I went to my bed, and in the morning I woke up with a phone call that war started. So,
and this is when? Give us a date.
On 24th of February.
Wow.
Yeah. So just after few hours of sleeping, and I was just we were somehow preparing for this war because we were told about this for months, actually, at least for months. But I personally didn't believe that it will happen because, well, it's so crazy after all. And then I discovered myself to be a head of delegation of this UN panel, and with all delegations from different countries, and we needed to start to work in the morning, and I start to receive actually messages from my friends, from these members of delegation, personal messages, of course, with support, with this sorry and
how did that make you feel?
Well, I was shocked. I was so angry, in fact, that all my life I understood that all life just smashed, all plans just smashed. I had so many times, so many plans for next weeks just to present this report, to do my job, to involve more people, to make my country better. And then just in one moment, everything just smashed. So it's like you're running and just you just stop in the wall, actually. And but at the other point, I understood that it's my mission now to say something to the world, since I am head of delegation from Ukraine. So I try to find the right words to explain what we are feeling in Ukraine. Well, in fact, I was feeling that I will not go from Kyiv. So it's my native city. And why I need to go from my native city just because someone wants me to go. So I was really very angry with this. I decided, no, we will stay in Kyiv as fight will be more or less safe. I understood that Kyiv is well protected, or most protected, let's say, in Ukraine. Well, so with this my speech, it was very emotional, and I said to my colleagues that, look, next 3 days will be crucial for Ukraine. We don't know what will happen. We will do our best to survive, to fight against this Russian army, and I'm pretty sure that we will, withstand at least. But this. You at the panel, you need to approve the summary for policymakers because climate change will not stop.
Just because of the war in Ukraine.
It will just exacerbate, in fact.
That's interesting. Tell me about that. How will the war exacerbate climate change in Ukraine?
It's exacerbate climate change globally, in fact, because first of all, I discovered and I try to convince other people that we need to stop to buy fossil fuels, oil, gas, and coal from Russia, because it is what actually funds the war. So it was very obvious for me, but not so obvious for others. But I'm really happy that now it's much more, on this agenda of European Union as well. Well, other points which I know, because I can put many parallels actually between war and this climate. This now the most fighting we have in east and south part of Ukraine, where we have much more vulnerable regions to climate change due to this water scarcity and water quality problem.
Water scarcity and water quality. Tell me
Yes.
more about that.
Okay, it's clear because we have we have climate change. We have less precipitation there, actually, and in this climate became more drier in this last decade. I can say that during last 12 years in Ukraine, just 1 year was with precipitation over the norm. So we had, during this decade, we had very devastating droughts, which actually caused our economical losses for Ukrainian agriculture. In 2020, our losses were comparable, the same as economical losses for 5 preceding years for all hydrometeorological disasters in Ukraine. So it's really very big impact from climate change. And especially in the south part, where they don't have, people don't have water except from Dnieper River. So that's why the first Russians, what they actually made, they invaded Kherson Oblast and put water to Kyiv from Dnieper River. And now they try to fight there the most.
How do you expect the continuing war is going to impact your ability to do work as a climate scientist as we head towards COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh?
Well, I should be fair. Of course, for Ukraine, climate change now is not priority. Of course, for us, it's priority to stop the war and survive and to actually to save our people. Yeah. Well, we don't think too much about our infrastructure. Everything can be rebuilt. Moreover, they can be rebuilt on this climate resilient way.
Right.
So, as a climate scientist, I started from the very beginning to speak to international media to gain support for this climate change issue, just because we can do nothing in Ukraine. And I just said that, look, you should do it for us. You should put more effort to withstand and fight with climate change. For me, as scientist, it's very difficult because, of course, all money goes to army, to maintain this, all other people, but not to science. And I don't complain too much because I understand that, we need to survive. And as scientists of high level, I can get money from international sources. I'm just thinking about young people, they cannot do like me. Some other people like teachers in school, for example. So with this COVID, this last year, so actually they're really very poor. I mean, these people who are staying in Ukraine, they're very, very, very difficult for them to survive. So they need some kind of, very individual grants or support, some focused support for those people. Well, so, and I don't know, from my laboratory, actually just only me was staying in Kyiv.
Wow.
Yeah, and I don't know how to continue this work well. I know what to do, what I can do for my country, but maybe not right now. So we need to, from one point of view, we need to wait, but from other, I understand urgency of all these climate actions. So that's why actually I try to convince other people to do more.
Okay, thank you. I want to just make sure I ask, I know that you're a mother as well. How are your kids? How are they taking all of this?
Yeah, I'm mother of 4 kids actually, and my elder daughters, we were staying all together actually.
Right.
So our family was like a team. So they helped me a lot just to be able to do all my work with all this interview and everything. Well, every person in Ukraine can say their own story. It's millions of stories.
And your story?
My story, nothing too much special. I mean, we stayed in Kyiv. My daughter were afraid of all this bombing, of course, all this sounds of bombing. So one of my daughters stayed in bathroom for 40 days.
Wow.
So she was sleeping there. Another was in corridor. So we trying our best. We didn't have shelter near our house, so we staying in corridors. So which is the most safe place in my apartment. We put these stripes on our windows, so we tried our best, to survive. Fortunately, we didn't have much around, this. But actually, I saw one missile just hit from my window, and I was counting. When you see lightning, you start to count, and they counted 1, 2, 3, and then was babach.
Wow.
So it means very, very near from my home. And actually, school of one of my child, some windows were blown up.
Okay.
So, I mean, all of us has story, and I know story from my very close friends, which are much more. But what actually about children? I was part of panel on climate change, impact of climate change on women, children, and there we actually rose this question about the war as well.
Yeah.
So I didn't know before that in Ukraine we had 7.5 million of children, and 3.5 actually emigrated.
Wow.
So every second one child left country, and we want these children come back.
Yeah.
In our
They are the future.
yeah. So
Svitlana, thank you very much for spending the time with me here at the Hub Culture ICEhouse, and I'm Edie Lush.